Welcome to the Yellow Brick Road. I am Jordan, and today we're gonna watch a reaction. Or wait, we're gonna react to a watching of the dumbest name ever, Triggernometry. I think that's Dilbert and Fuckface, and they're gonna be talking to John Spencer. I guess debunking the lies about Gaza. Okay, we're expert. But before I get started, do not forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links you see in the description box. Check them out, read them, share them, then donate. All of it is very much appreciated. Also, check out the Discord link if you want to join that up. Hang out, talk shit, watch movies, listen to music, play political videos, play documentaries. All of it is very much welcome. Just no dick pics. That's all I ask for. Okay, so this is going to be interesting, I think, and I'm very curious of what is said. The John Spencer guy, I'm a little bit. I don't really know him. Honestly, I don't even know the trigonometry guys that well, but regardless, I'm here to react, and let's see if he actually makes some points where I'm like, oh shit, you got a point to this in regards to, I guess, lies about what's happening in Gaza. Yeah. By the way, I'm going to be eating a salad while I'm watching this. So if you hear any crunching or just, for real, not give a fuck noises about what the fuck these idiots are saying, you know what happened. There's the carrots and tomatoes in there. It's amazing. Anyways, here we go. Here's dumb fuck named Trigonometry, Dilbert and Fuckface interviewing potential fuckface John Spencer. Here we go.
John Spencer, welcome to Triggernometry.
Good volume.
Well, thanks for having me. Long-time viewer, long-time fan.
Well, appreciate that.
Okay.
You're one of the world's leading experts on urban combat and urban warfare, which is why we wanted to have you on in the context of what's happening in Gaza. Obviously, you messaged me somewhat irate after our last couple of interviews on Israel with Piers Morgan and Andrew Fox. You had a lot of disagreements. Before we get into all of that and your perspective on what's happening and perhaps answering some of the questions that those two guests raised that we as non-experts are not able to address, tell everybody a little about your background and what gives you the ability to talk about these issues with some authority.
Sure. So my name is John Spencer. I'm the chair of urban warfare studies at the Manistee Policy Forum, also executive director of the Urban Warfare Institute. I spent 25 years active duty U.S. Army as an infantry soldier and then officer, 2 combat tours to Iraq, did the invasion, and then I was there during the height of the sectarian violence in 2008 in Baghdad to include the Battle of Sadr City. I don't rest on my own experiences, though. I've been studying urban warfare for over a decade. I started in the Pentagon, actually in a research group and advisory role to our top 4-star general of the U.S. Army in the Pentagon. After that tour, where we were looking at large cities like mega cities, I moved to West Point, the United States Military Academy, where I was teaching strategy, leadership, military tactics in echelon. But really, that strategy class has helped me a lot since then. I started a research center called the Modern War Institute. I was a co-founder of that and started writing a lot about urban warfare. Now I have 3 books. I started a podcast, although I don't consider myself a podcaster, not that that's a bad thing. I've been doing it for over 6 years, interviewing top commanders of past battles, technical experts, veterans. I've started in the research role, though, since 2018, really. I've been traveling the world, going into combat zones, using different research methodologies like ethnographic, basically getting on the ground in combat areas and recording what's happening, and then the lessons that other people can take from it. So I write case studies on past wars. So I've covered most urban battles of the past, from Stalingrad to most of the battles of World War II, actual walking the ground of battlegrounds. I went into Ukraine weeks after Russia withdrew from Kyiv and been into Ukraine 4 times, Azerbaijan to study their wars, India, and then Israel, of course. So I've been to Israel now 5 times, 4 times, embedded with the IDF, actually with the commanders, with the division commanders and others. I've interviewed the prime minister 3 times, the defense minister, the head of the IDF, the chief of staff. multiple, numerous commanders, observed them in the field. And I didn't start studying war on October 7th. And that's unique in some aspects to other people who have opinions. I didn't start studying Israel on October 7th, and I surely heck didn't start studying war. I had been going in and out of Israel for years, writing case studies, writing research reports on their past urban battles, from the 1973 Battle of Suez City, the First Intifada, Second Intifada, ancient Jerusalem battle, etc. So I consider myself knowledgeable in urban warfare, but to be honest, in order to understand Gaza, you have to understand a little bit of history on what's come before. And I've studied a lot of urban battles, and I can help provide people like, it's really weird what you're saying about Israel here and all the double standards.
Once again, all I need is you to confirm that you're human, and then I can go from there. Personally, I can go from there. I heard credentials from so many other different people about certain things. You have the Tony Aguilar guy, right? Who's also has all the credentials of military service and combat experience. And he has one take. I assume this guy's going to take a different point of view. Fair enough. So, but I'm looking at the human part of it. I could believe that someone believes that something legit is happening over there versus what's actually happening. Because you'll see a lot of guys, a lot of people are like, oh no, I had this experience. I was over there, as in like Douglas Murray. It's not a massacre. It's war. It's war. Right? Then as time goes by and more stories get out, all of a sudden the story might change a little bit. Oh, well, people make mistakes. They make mistakes sometimes. All of a sudden. So, but for me personally, I'm not waiting for that moment to happen. I'm going to ask you questions. Well, I can't ask him the questions, but I'm going to ask questions in real time to where it's like, once you get past this point, like if you didn't think of this yourself, if the hosts you're talking to are not going to ask you these questions, I will say that this is possible to come up with before any type of event or news story comes out. I'm going to show you that it's possible to actually contemplate those points. Just saying. So that there is no room for, I never thought of that. Okay, then you're incompetent. You shouldn't be in that position. Or you did know about that and you lied to us about it, which means you're corrupt. Get the fuck out. Leave. Stop talking about this, go back to kindergarten, and try again. My personal point of view. Anyways, here we go.
You also have to have an understanding of things like civilian harm mitigation, which are the steps that militaries have taken even over the last 20 or 30 years to protect civilians. And I've been arguing with groups in the United Nations. I've spoken multiple times at the United Nations and with UN humanitarian groups about how do you help protect civilians in urban warfare, but also the law. So then you have that part where you have to understand the full nature of the laws of war, from what is the humanitarian requirements of the attacker to like what munitions can you and can you not use. And I've been writing, podcasting, and researching all of those topics. So I think I have some information to share about what's going on in Gaza, but also to give people the framework, because we have a lot of people that say things either that are just wrong, and we can talk about some of those people, or just that are not informed by an actually research methodology.
Well, it's great to have you on the show because of your knowledge and expertise. I was going to say, I'm surprised how much hair you have, given that you've probably been tearing a lot of it out with the way that this conflict's been covered. So broad perspective, big.
Yo, fuckface. Why do you say that? It's funny that I can just get away with like, yo, fuckface. Why are you saying that, bro? You can't do a fucking thing about it either. Not saying he would hear this podcast. I'm just saying, like, podcast. Not saying he would hear this video. It's just funny I can say that. He'd be like, how dare you? I'd be like, what, fuckface? I don't get what I'm doing. Like, I could actually just troll the guy if I actually talked to the person. I don't think he would know what to do. Oh, poppycock. How dare you? Anyways, here we go.
Picture.
I know, not an argument.
In your opinion, what is the correct frame and way of looking at what's happening in Gaza and Israel's war in Gaza that people who don't understand military conflict, particularly urban warfare, probably don't understand?
Absolutely. It's an amazing first question. The framework is war, right? So although Hamas is a non-state actor, the law of war actually covers an internationally armed conflict or a non-internationally armed conflict. And I know you had Natasha Hallsdorf to try to explain the framework of the legal
war on terror.
He says they're non-state actors, but a lot of the talking points are that they are Palestine, like Gaza's government. But I would assume he means like, well, they don't have an actual state, so thus they're non-state actors. But there are people there that claim to have a government that also has Hamas in it. So I'm very curious what he means by that. That's a weird statement, right? Once again, I'm not an expert, but I can ask questions. What do you mean by non-state actor? And why do you say of course? Like it's that simple and no context to it. It's kind of weird, right? I don't know. Am I on the attack a little bit too early? Should I chill out? Just eat my fucking salad? I don't know.
To me, when I hear non-state actors in terms of war, like he started out by calling this a war, I'm thinking the framework that we use with terrorism, because
are you saying he's going legal? You're saying, or
well,
like legalese
I mean,
in a way?
like if a nation declared war on the United States, it's extremely easy to, well, okay, this is an enemy country, and we know how to handle that.
Okay.
When they're terrorists, it basically, if they're individuals among the group, you don't know who they are, which, like, they're not wearing a uniform with
an official
with
flag.
Their nation. Yeah. And that makes it where
it could be anyone.
It's fuzzy on who the specific person is, and then that to me is like what we've been doing with the war on terror. That, like, there's no real end game, really, right? Like, there's just an open-ended book of permission to continue war.
Yeah,
that's what I hear when I hear, like, this is a war and you don't have a defined enemy.
Yeah, but it also gets a little weird because, like I said, there is no official state called Palestine, but we do agree that there's a group of people called Palestinians, and we do agree that they have a government, whether it's Gaza or the West Bank, and then we start to define the government or military that's maybe running things over there. But at the same time, if you say they're non-state actors, it's kind of like the Israeli state is saying, "This is their look who these people voted in. Look at their government. It's Hamas right there." So to say non-state actors, it sounds like legalese for, I think, what you're saying, like a war on terror in the American context, right? You're not going to war with Turkey or Iraq or Syria. You're going to war with the Islamic State of Syria, which is not a fucking state. Thus, wherever they go is officially a war zone. And if you say Hamas is everywhere, or whoever is everywhere, that entire territory is now a war zone, and you can bomb, shoot, kill anything you fucking want to. My bad, I'm overstepping. I'll go back to my salad. Let's keep playing this video. Here we go.
Absolutely. It's an amazing first question. The framework is war, right? So although Hamas is a non-state actor, the law of war actually covers an internationally armed conflict or a non-internationally armed conflict. And I know you had Natasha Hallsdorf to try to explain the framework of the legal. What the world has been doing, though, has been applying a counterterrorism, counterinsurgency framework to Hamas, because there is a heuristic of, this is what people know. This is whether they understand Iraq, Afghanistan, the battles against ISIS. They keep considering Hamas a terrorist fight, a counterterrorism fight. And that's not the framework. That's not in any way the framework. On October 7th, the terror army that was Hamas's military and other terrorist groups and a whole lot of civilians from Gaza invaded southern Israel. Israel waged war in accordance with the framework of nations against Hamas as the political and military apparatus of the area of Gaza, although it's not a nation. So this isn't a nation-on-nation conflict. It's a nation against a non-state actor, but also.
Okay, so they are doing that. According to him. So it is, in a way, a nation versus nation, or I guess. Here we go.
Hamas as the political and military apparatus of the area of Gaza, although it's not a nation. So this isn't a nation-on-nation conflict. It's a nation against a non-state actor, but also very unique in the context of it, unlike others, right? All these other frameworks that people talk about, and this is really where I've been playing whack-a-mole to people's analogies, people's comparisons, is like, why are you comparing this to Iraq battles? Why are you comparing this to ISIS battles? I mean, those are all insurgencies within nations where the U.S. or others are helping even a host nation fight an insurgency. It's the wrong framework. So at the very top is war. You have to frame it in the way of war. Now, how do people compare it? And I can give you all kinds of comparisons that you probably haven't heard of that are more applicable to Gaza than anybody else is using. And it's crazy. And I've tried to help people understand that from the size of the military, the terrain of Gaza. There are some very unprecedented aspects of this where there is no comparison. And I can make really bold claims, and I'm sure we'll talk about them, like this has never happened in war before.
So explain all of this, John. What are you talking about? What makes this conflict unique? What are some of the particular challenges that the Israeli Defense Force faces? What are some of the contentious issues that people keep claiming that you don't agree with?
Challenges for the idea.
A question? Look at his question. What are the challenges of the IDF? And what are the other stuff that's bullshit that you think are bullshit? It's like, what? What are we doing? What kind of fucking question is that?
I think the question is, how do we destroy Hamas? Was that the
I mean, it is what it is. All right, here we go.
Well, I don't know if we have enough time to go through all the contentious issues.
Let's try.
So the number one things, let's talk about the things that are unique in war.
Sorry,
Gaza. Gaza is a very unique situation. Hamas. So unlike any other comparison, Gaza is a small area, relatively. It's 25 miles long. And sorry, I don't do the kilometers. 25 miles long, 5 to 7 miles wide. It's a really relatively small area, but it actually has 24 cities. It has multiple cities of over 600,000, if not a million. You talk about Gaza City. It's not a battle. It's a war. But I can't find any other situation, again, because I've studied urban warfare for over a decade, and I have a little military service myself, where the enemy defender has prepared the ground for 20 years for that battle. Most urban battles, from Stalingrad to Aachen to Hue, all of these things are meeting engagements where the enemy gets inside the urban area or is there and then for a short amount of time prepares it for a battle. And we can talk about some of the numbers of previous battles, but the fact that Hamas spent billions of dollars and prepared every bit of Gaza for war is unique. And that means if you're an attacker, and if you just take the word Israel out of this and give the context of the war, there is no parallel. There is no parallel to the 300 to 400 miles of tunnels underneath every urban area in Gaza and connecting them all.
Yeah, but people are complaining about them bombing schools, hospitals, and blatantly bulldozing housing. They're not even, no, as far as people complaining, I don't think they even mention tunnels. Except for like some Israelis that have mentioned like, hey, we bomb, they go into tunnels, and thus all we're bombing is women and children. So like, what the fuck are we doing? We look bad when we do that. That's something I've heard like I'm pretty sure like a famous kind of celebrity in Israel person say. Like, yeah, they have tunnels, but they hide in the tunnels when we start bombing. So thus, the only people left are just civilians. And we look stupid doing that, or we look, immoral for doing that. So I don't get his point. Or whatever. Okay, maybe he's just filling out the context, and they're showing digital charts to make it seem intellectual, when in reality this should be a question of morals, most likely. But we're dealing with Dilbert, fuckface, and who the fuck are you again? Here we go.
There is no parallel to the 300 to 400 miles of tunnels underneath every urban area in Gaza and connecting them all. There are tunnels around the world, and I've studied the Vietnam War from the tunnels of Cu Chi to the tunnels currently in North Korea and China. Nobody's ever built 300 miles of tunnels underneath their civilians for the sole purpose of using their civilians as a shield and as a sacrifice. That's their strategy. And I know other people have talked to you about that, is that Hamas wants its population to be killed. That's also unique. The Nazis didn't do that. The Japanese.
They want their civilians to be killed? Like, that's a weird statement. Now, if you're going with human shields, right, where you're like, okay, when the bombs drop, it'll hit them, it'll protect us. But if all the civilians die, that's not good for them. So they don't want civilians to die, right? They would want them to maintain their human shield status.
That would be like killing hostages, right? Like if you are using people as shields and they die, you lose your shield.
Not even the Nazis have done that. Okay. All right, here we go. These are, by the way, these are not counter proofs in any regard yet. He's just saying things. But here we go. Like, bring up a claim, counter the claim. I'd love to see that from this guy. As opposed to other videos I've covered where they bring up the claims that are brought up and then counter them with their own information or evidence. I want to see him and hear him do that. These two it's Dilbert and Fuckface. What do you want from them?
So far, the only people that want those civilians to die so far is Hamas wants the people that are dying to die.
Yeah, and Israel doesn't mean...
They're the only ones.
Yeah, they don't want to kill civilians, but Hamas wants civilians to die. According to this guy. And not even the Nazis would do that. All right, here we go.
Its population to be killed. That's also unique. The Nazis didn't do that. The Japanese didn't do that. Even ISIS didn't say, look, my strategy is to get my people killed and then hope that the international world community stops Israel short of victory. The aspect of the size of the enemy, right? I can, hopefully we'll talk about a couple of the previous battles that people use to do some type of comparison. Hamas was estimated to be 30 to 40,000 fighters on October 8th. That's just Hamas. As you have heard as well, there are other combatants that joined the fight in other terrorist organizations in Gaza. You have the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, you have Lion's Den, you have like 14 other terrorist groups. And this is where a major contentious thing I have is people calling combatants and civilians. In my world and in the law of war, there's combatants and there's non-combatants. A non-combatant can turn themselves into a combatant and
there's no
more easily than people think.
Civilian.
You don't just have to...
Oh my fucking god. Wait, let him spin. No, let him spin, Jesse. Let him spin. Oh, my heart broke a little bit, but my brain broke harder, I think, with that. It was like, oh god. But you get what people mean by civilians, right? If a 5-year-old walks up to you like, but they kill regular people. There's no such thing as regular people. It's combatants and non-combatants. Like, you don't say that to them, right? Right, fuckface? Right? Like, come on.
Somehow this guy, like, provided his credentials for all that time. And he's dumber than rocks.
I said this rule when I was watching a candidate, like, for me personally. It's not a rule, it's just like an intuitive, like, thing about it. When I was watching a Candace Owens video, and I'm like, yo, if someone doesn't show empathy for, like, the actual human condition we're in, the human scenario, I assume you're full of shit. Not saying that that's exactly a rule, it's just like, it's a telltale sign to me, where you just lack empathy for what's actually happening. See that scenario, see the thing he's brought up? It's not civilians, it's combatants and non-combatants. Now, later on in this video, he might bring up, well, it's bad that, kids are dying. That's not empathy. After you say some shit like this without, like, actually, like, trying to weigh out, like, balance out the actual scenario you're dealing with. You just walk over it. Dummy, you fucking devil worshiper. He's probably a devil worshiper. I'm saying it right now as a guess. He's probably a devil worshiper. I can't say I know, but he smells like one. Anyways, here we go.
Major contentious thing I have is people calling combatants and civilians. In my world and in the law of war, there's combatants and there's non-combatants. A non-combatant can turn themselves into a combatant and more easily than people think. You don't just have to shoot at the IDF or whoever to become a combatant. If you hold hostages, if you report on intelligence, if you carry ammunition, whole list of reasons. But just the size of the enemy in Gaza in a 20-year prepared defense is what it is very unique and was going to make the IDF challenge astronomically hard to even get to the enemy. The other aspect,
the enemy,
I would have liked to save it till the end, is that there's never been a war, and you've challenged people on this, where the civilian population is forced to stay inside of the main combat areas. The fact that Egypt on October 8th said not one person comes out of Gaza towards the Sinai Desert. Just from a military analysis, let alone a political analysis, I can't find that ever happening, right? In Ukraine, which I've been there, 3 to 5 million people left areas, massive civilian displacement in areas that Russia invaded, even still today. Syria, every war, the civilians get out of harm's way so that the militaries can have their fight and there be safeguarded or even move to humanitarian areas. Those, just the variables that before the war even actually starts, before the ground invasion starts, before the bombing starts, every aspect of the war against Hamas in Gaza is unique and there is no parallel.
But Netanyahu said every house was fucking booby-trapped. So the government of Israel is defining their houses as a war zone. What the fuck? Like, yo, hey man, maybe there's a good counterpoint for what I just said. Please bring the stories up, then debunk them. But something tells me he's not going to do that. I don't know. It smells like he won't actually bring up actual cases that are documented by whatever mainstream publication you want to use. They all have have some stories about this. Bring them up, debunk them. Please. Please do that. Otherwise, he likes horns and a tail. I think these two cunts do too, by the way. Dilbert, like, oh my god, how many lockers was he stuffed in? And his little fuckface friend. Leave Dilbert alone! He gets put right in a locker next to him. You can tell these are fucking little weirdo dweebos. I'm sure Michael Tracy's making him coffee right now. Here we go.
Hopefully we'll talk about the double standards, but I can keep going because that's the other uniqueness. As I've studied, again, I'm currently studying other wars. There's no other war where Israel, if you put the word Israel in it, then there's a whole different standard in what can be done, the way they assess the war, the false claims of war crime, genocide, all these things contrary to what Israel does.
Once again, I did a video reacting to the antiwar.com, Dave DeCamp, and Matt Cockrell video where he said the civilian to combatant ratio of death is 9-1, which is above, what do you say, Stalingrad? Fucking World War II Germany rolling through cities and towns in the Holocaust. He said it's higher than that. It's slightly less than, what do you say, the Korean War, right? Of like a particular incident where it's like, or no, I think maybe it was Vietnam? Like a certain battle in Vietnam, or it might have been the Korean War. But the Korean War takes place over years. Even if he's using ratios, right? 9-1. And according to the PR from Israel or the US, that's normal. when it's not. For every one combatant killed, 9 civilians die. Here's actually, let's be real. Here's the ultimate actual proof of why this guy's dumb as fuck or full of shit. I could play one video of a little girl with water in her hand trying to cross the street and a fucking bomb hits her. Make that make sense. Was there ISIS in her fucking water jug? Was there Hamas in her water jug? Come on. Admitted whistleblowers, right? At these GHF sites, at these food distribution sites, where whistleblowers are saying, and everyone, by the way, everyone's saying, these guys are unarmed. And yet people are getting shot and killed. Make that make sense. My guess, he doesn't bring it up. In fact, hold on, let me show you. Because the PR has gotten so bad that these fools, the GHF, have to change their fucking methods. Granted, it's still probably dog shit. Let me show you this. Official statement from the fucking GHF. It's State Department. Here we go. Official GHF, right? Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. We are proud to launch a new system enabling Gazans families to reserve and guarantee aid parcels in advance. Meaning, give me your ID, give me your location. They are doing. What did I bring up before about IBM as like the computer systems for marking Jewish people's fucking arms with numbers to count them? You guys know what that is, right? The tattooed numbers on people's arms. Guess what they're doing? The same fucking thing. The same thing. Computerized systems to keep track of these motherfuckers. Please, and look at the way they're saying these things. The U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation launched a pilot program for families to reserve food parcels for more orderly distribution. What was the distribution before that? What do you think, Jesse? What do you think that was? Before this? Before they computerize, document, ID each individual. What was it before that?
Well, I saw some videos where they had to walk, I don't know how many miles. Instead of bringing them the food distribution, they had them walk, and then they would shoot over their heads. And if they walked outside of the lines, they'd get shot.
Well, there's allegedly an 8-minute window. Imagine you walk. Yeah. According to Tony Aguilar, it's walking 8 to 10 miles. I think maybe even more. To show up for 8 minutes, get what food you can, and then leave. If you're there too early, you get shot at. If you're there too late, you get shot at. If you step out of line, you get shot at. If you're not even anywhere near the food sites, you're on the beach somewhere, you get fucking shot at. Now tell me what type of human being justifies that. You tell me. Am I underrating it by saying devil worshiper? Am I?
He's already landing on anti-Semitic. He's like, he just said that you're not holding the same standard if it wasn't Israel. That's what he was just saying. If you just change the name, you wouldn't hold to the same standard. That's what he's claiming already.
Yes. Look at this. How it works. Under the pilot, it's a pilot program, by the way. Local Palestinian workers employed by GHF will invite select families to participate. Participants are documented and encouraged to create online profiles with household details. Hey, Holocaust survivor. Yeah, come over here. Show us the numbers on your fucking arm. What's the difference? What is the actual difference? There isn't. Right here. Sites that often open and shut within an average of 8 minutes. Hey, maybe Drop Site News is lying. Maybe they're lying. Do a video about how they're lying then. I'm sorry, if you're being intellectually honest, wouldn't you look at the most harshest fucking statements about the topic that you're saying is like, oh, they're wrong about this. It's bullshit. Wouldn't you seek those out and then debunk them? Yeah. And once again, I could show you a video of a little girl getting blown up carrying a water jug. Whether that's by accident or on purpose, make an accounting for it. But these fools make sure they work hard to not even allow that. That's why it comes off as blatantly dishonest. In fact, it is dishonest. It's either you know something and you're lying, or you're intellectually not actually going through the actual topic, which means you're dishonest. I'm sorry. You're too far in the game to claim ignorance. You can't show your medals and say, like, I'm an expert, then miss out on certain details. You can't do that. I'm sorry. It means you're not an expert. That means you're fucking full of shit. Okay, let's go back to it. Here's more of a dumb fuck idiot, probably devil worshiper. Here we go.
This is all very unique, but war is a contest of will. So you have to get into, okay, fine, but how do you defeat Hamas? Even that standard, right? So the idea that Israel was supposed to have a day after plan in Gaza in October of 2023, like what? Okay, fine, but what's your plan? That would be like saying, okay, you started against Japan and your goal is to defeat Japan, but what's your day after plan? No, you have to defeat the enemy. You have to take his power, and then you start to work on post-conflict operations.
Ghost, enjoy your teammate. Well, we got to, nuke them first and then ask them questions later. In Gaza's case, let's bomb everything in sight, and then let's see if they come to the table and negotiate. Which they actually did. That actually happened. So he's lying again. I'm sorry, this is not some debate bro thing. This is like human shit on the line. And to be this fucking full of shit, dishonest, or this stupid is like, yo, my man. Hopefully you have like a wife and kids. Go spend time with them. Stay away from this shit. Like, I beg you, on humanity's behalf, leave what you're doing. Go do something else. I beg you to. And you two fuckfaces join them. Please. I see what you guys are fucking doing. Try to come off as fair. I don't fucking believe you. I don't. For a fucking second, I don't believe you. You can say the fucking words. I don't actually believe you, though. I have eyes, ears, and a fucking brain. Sorry. This is why I usually watch this shit before I react to it, because my actual anger, I try to keep it not on YouTube. I have to calm it down and say, oh, they're just devil worshippers. But in reality, it's fucking infuriating. Actually. Fucking weirdos. Give your fucking money away. Give your money away. Fucking weirdos. You don't deserve it. Well, fuck money in general, but it's like, prove to me that you actually believe what the fuck you're saying. Meaning, give your fucking money away and prove it to me. You actually believe what you believe. But you'll never do that, would you? 1 coward, 2 coward, 3 coward. That's what I see. Care how many fucking combat missions you've been. Fuck out of here, bro. Here we go.
Every aspect.
No fucking guts for this.
The number one thing that I've been fighting since October 8th, though, has been this counting obsession. It's all a version of, which is a great book, Lies, Damn Lies, and Statistics, where the goal is to make any number as big as a number, to make it as big as a problem. And for this war, it's been a global problem. And it's just...
Okay, name the numbers then for everyone to hear. Do it. I dare you to. Let's see if he does that. That'd be interesting. Let's see if he names the fucking number. Like, not that I once again, I personally don't care about numbers. If it's one person getting killed unjustly, yes, I'm making the same fucking big deal about it. I'm sorry. Sorry, Gordon Ramsay. I'm stealing his word. You fucking donkey. You're a donkey. You're a dummy. You're a jackass. Name the fucking numbers then. Say it out loud for everyone to hear. How many people killed? That you consider innocent civilians. Say the numbers. Then when you're done, say the names, because guess what? They're posted and printed. Go to that, I think it was Washington Post, right? Go to their article and read every single fucking name. Every single one of them. Then say complaints about numbers. Fucking donkey. Here we go.
Repeating the number that comes from a terrorist organization. As somebody who studies war for a living, there's never been a single battle in history, not a war, but a battle in which there is a running daily count of how many civilians are dying down to the single digit coming from the enemy inside the battle, coming from Hamas. And the reason that is because it's impossible to know how many civilians are dying. And all these other battles I can tell you about years later that they still don't know how many civilians died.
Okay, so the video I just did on antiwar.com from antiwar.com with the Matthew Cockrell guy, right? And he brings up like, well, they actually this what's her name? I'm fucking it up right now. Shit. I forgot their fucking I'm fucking their name up. But they do like extra stringent fucking data collection. Meaning like they're very rigorous. As in they contradict the official Hamas statements about body counts. Where Hamas is screaming like, oh, it's this percentage of people dying. And they're like, no, it's not actually that high. They contradict it. Why the fuck would they do that if they're working for Hamas? Fucking liar. And something tells me this was made in... I'm sorry to be conspiratorial about this, but something tells me that this video was made because someone saw that thing. They need to make sure that shit's bullshit. If I had to guess, I can't say I know, but I'll leave room for all the suspicion about this. But here we go. Let's see if he names like, okay, what are the correct numbers then? Are you saying it's a mystery? If you're saying it's a mystery, let's shut everything down and investigate, because there's a lot of people saying that there are a like over the top, even like ratio wise, over the top amount of regular ass people dying in the midst of this quote unquote war that this guy's calling it. So yeah, maybe shut it down and like investigate it. No, we can't do that. Hamas. I suspect his answer would be. Let's continue.
But the ideal inside of Gaza, and there's all kinds of these nefarious actors who are trying to invent ways to validate Hamas's casualty numbers. If not say, no, Hamas is not right. It's actually more. It's crazy that this statistical war that
bring them up
this is how many civilians are dying and how many combatants are dying. There's never been a military in history in any war who's ever been asked, look, I know your war is just, your goals are just, but what's your civilian to combatant ratio? Because that's not the way the law works. That's not the way war works. And you would actually give people, every terrorist organization around the world, a recipe for success. Oh, just make the number as high as you can. And
No. According to the Matthew Cockrell guy, they are finding the names, they're corroborating with images and the family themselves, and the Israel like given identification numbers. All of it documented. If it steps outside of that, they say, all right, we're not going to count these anymore. According to him, at least. And sorry, forgive my intuition, but I'm being a person. I believe him over this fucking idiot. 100%. Of course, this guy and the two dumb fucks won't bring that up, obviously. Or maybe they will. Who knows? Sorry, just being honest. I don't believe they're going to bring that up as like, okay, let's go over the actual thing then. Here's the stats we do have. Here we go.
It wasn't like this is the first time. Again, if you started studying war on October 7th, you could probably imagine like all kinds of stuff. This is the worst I've ever seen. Okay, have you studied any other war? Have you ever studied any other humanitarian aid operations?
Doesn't mean anything.
No, okay.
Doesn't mean anything if you have names, identification numbers, witness accounts, all that shit. You're counting, like, once again, go to that article from Washington Post and read all the fucking names. Then go through each case and find out if it's bullshit or not. If you want to be real about this. Otherwise, I assume you're a propagandist, full of shit devil worshiper. Let's continue.
I can show you other times when it's worse and worse and worse. And the numbers and the chaos, even though the context of Gaza is so unique that the world won't even acknowledge it, right? So the fact that
because we all hate
going
Israel,
back to Egypt, and I just interviewed the Minister of Defense again to validate that in the last 21 months, not one delegation, not one nation, especially the UK, have ever brought up the topic of what about Egypt? Couldn't we move the civilians out of harm's way? Couldn't we get them out of the Hamas hands and set up a humanitarian area in the Sinai? Not one delegation brought that up. So you have to ask the question, like, why is that?
Oh my fucking God. It's like, how come they won't say just, yo, Gazans, just leave? I thought, like, according to evidence, that's the fucking point of willy-nilly bombing anything you see. And blowing up little girls finding water. The point is to get them to run away and leave. What the fuck? Imagine being a dummy, listening to this and buying into it. No critical thinking skills. Even a little bit. Once again, I don't need any of the information that I've heard of before. I don't need that shit to be like, excuse me? Like, I could be brand new to this fucking topic and have questions off rip that Dilbert and Fuckface can't seem to stop him and ask him a question. Like, well, what numbers do you have for civilian casualties? Do you have any numbers? Is it all made up? What do you got? That takes no type of knowledge about the situation itself. None. And these fools sit by with security guard ear fucking pieces in their ears, saying nothing and doing nothing. Just blank face. Yeah, say everything you need to say. You don't need to be a genius. You need to be 5 years old and went to kindergarten. That's all you need, actually. A little kid saying, but why? Is enough. But these fools can't seem to do that. It's embarrassing. Fuck. Here we go.
Why is it that Israel is held to not one double standard, but a whole list of double standards in war
defending it
that no other nation in history has ever been held to, or would be if it happened to them?
Well, John, there's a lot to unpack in what you're saying, but on the Egypt thing, I would imagine what the pro-Palestine people, so to speak, would say is what Israel really wants. I mean, Piers Morgan said this on our show.
There you go.
What Israel really wants is to displace the civilians from Gaza, is to get rid of the Palestinian Arabs who live there. Therefore, they would love nothing more than for those people to flee to other countries. And the reason that the neighboring countries don't want that to happen, A, they already have hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from previous eruptions of this conflict.
And it's also illegal.
In countries to which those groups of people have fled, that has caused a lot of instability. Egypt is a poor country with its own security problems. And so they don't want to play into Israel's hands and facilitate Israeli quote-unquote ethnic cleansing on the one hand, and on the other hand, they do not want to destabilize their own societies.
Organ meats are some of the most nutrient.
What the fuck is this? At least he asked a question. Tell me, vitamin B's? Okay. Beef liver. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, get your beef liver / triggered Yeah, go get that, guys. Go do that. Thank you, Joe Rogan. Thank you, Joe Rogan, for beefing this up, if you will. How long is your fucking ad, guys? Thank you. For Christ's sakes. I mean, let's be honest. The actual question I asked there was about the numbers. Like you said, okay, people are inflating numbers. Okay, tell me, what do you have? What do you believe? What do you think? What do you have? It's pretty simple. But, yeah, I would also ask about, like, it's not just quote unquote ethnic cleansing. It's kind of open, out in the open. They're saying those things. And obviously the U.S. administration that funds a lot of these weapons and bombs and other things has openly said, like, yeah, they got to go. And we can build, it's beautiful real estate. We can build something there. That is open from the U.S. Government. But anyways, here we go. Here's more of Dilbert, Fuckface, and Devil Worshiper. Here we go.
This episode.
Yep. So there's two things here. One, I can't help people that have BDS. So not the boycott, divest, sanction, awful thing that happens against Israel, but if you have BB derangement syndrome and you believe that he's just the nefarious actor that's guiding all this, or if you have TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, I would point, like you did recently, to somebody going, well, wait a minute. During World War II, there's massive population displacement in every war, actually. And you could talk 2020 war of Nagorno-Karabakh, 23 war of Nagorno-Karabakh, Ukraine, Syria, Yemen. Population displacement is historically exactly what happens to get civilians out of harm's way. Now, if you're...
So you're saying it's just war. That's your answer. It's just war, so get displaced. Now, are you saying every Palestinian getting displaced? Because you could bring up Syria, right? Plenty of Syrians have left their country and gone other places. But there's plenty of Syrians still in Syria. All right? And the only people that are going to take over Syria is some other form of Syria. Even if it is Al-Qaeda. What you're saying in Gaza, like the actual notion of what's happening in Gaza is when those guys leave, there is no Gaza anymore. It's now Judea and Sumeria, according to the very hardcore religious people. Who knows what they name it? Maybe they name it Mar-a-Lago 2, for all I know. Mar-a-Lago the sequel, for all I fucking know. Like, come on. And by the way, leaving behind like 5,000 Palestinians and saying like, well, see, they're still here, is not, come on. We're not stupid. We have brains. Here we go. Here's more stupid talk. More propaganda, more lying to an audience. For what reason? I got nothing for you. I just go with Devil Worshiper. That's where I go. But anyways, here we go.
23 war of Nagorno-Karabakh, Ukraine,
genuinely
Syria,
believe
Yemen.
any of this shit?
Population
no,
displacement
I don't believe that
is
at this point.
Historically exactly what happens to get civilians out of harm's way. Now, if you're
to get them out of harm's way,
people want to put me in a bucket of pro-Israel or put other people in the bucket of pro-Palestine. I think that's not the right framework. I'm pro-truth, and some people are anti-Israel.
Oh, are you?
That becomes a fact. They actually don't care about Palestinians or the cause. So if somebody's so
okay, got it. Hey, this guy he can speak English. Okay, good for him. It's about pro-Israel or anti-Israel, I guess, and he's pro-truth. While not addressing any of the ideas being said out loud, even forget about the antiwar.com interview, just on on Twitter alone. Are you even addressing those ideas at all? No, they haven't yet. They have not yet. Here we go.
And I think that's not the right framework. I'm pro-truth.
Oh,
and some people are anti-Israel. That becomes a fact. They actually don't care about Palestinians or the cause. So if somebody's so adamant that Israel just wants to eradicate people, it's been you don't listen to the words of actually Israeli leaders, like Minister Dermer, who's the Minister of Strategic Affairs, who has said, like, in the beginning, like, absolutely, pass a UN Security Council resolution saying that the people can come back after Hamas is defeated. But mainly,
once again, I've played aerial footage of their territories and their homes. It's rubble. Go back to what? Yeah, guys, come back. Come back to what? It's like, it's so dishonest. It's like, what else do you call this? I'm sorry. I know devil worshiper is inflammatory, but what else do you fucking call this? Here we go.
I would say, and I hope you can put it in a picture, take out a map, look at where Gaza is, and look at where the Sinai Desert is. And then look at where Egypt is. There's a massive area. So I think it's
there's a place to move them,
the excuse
but
that
we're
people
not
give.
saying we're.
And one
look at this fucking guy. Like, hey, man, we're not saying we want to move them. I mean, we are saying we want to move them. Not me, because I'm not on their team, but Israel over there wants to move them. And there's a whole desert right over there. Why can't they go there? And once we're done, or sorry, once they're done, they can go back. But also, every house has explosives and booby traps in it, which means you have to destroy them. That's this guy's fucking logic. And Dilbert and Fuckface got nothing. Nothing. They should be fired from... I'm sure they're their own bosses, but, like, fire yourselves, please. Here we go.
Historically, it's never been the case. And they're actually prolonging the war. They're actually causing civilian death. All you would have to do...
What?
On October... I think it's bullocks that's the excuse that people give. And one, historically, it's never been the case. And they're actually prolonging the war. They're actually causing civilian death. All you would have to do... On October 2023, right afterwards, Egypt launched a armor brigade and many other troops to the border to make sure no civilians got out. They built a new wall. There's actually 3 walls. They built a new wall to make sure that nobody got out. Now, if you're so adamant that you think that Israel, and there is this, in a lot of these positions, there's this nefarious Israeli theory underneath it. Like, oh, they're trying to do things sneakily. They can't do it in the open, so they have these ulterior motives.
Okay.
Like, look, I look at it as a war objectively as possible. The fact that you say Israel, because you think they're nefarious, can't move the civilians out of the harm's way. You're not even if you're United Nations and you want to create a humanitarian area where there won't be chaos, where Hamas won't cause the chaos, you could build a humanitarian area, and we're talking 2 million people.
Somewhere else.
I fought in a neighborhood of Baghdad. That's 2 million people. It isn't the
It's not that many people. Just move them somewhere else, UN. Duh. Just move them somewhere else. And of course, when years goes by, and this guy was like, well, I guess I was wrong. They weren't allowed to come back. Or maybe it's too expensive. Or maybe the area was too torn up to actually come back to, or whatever the fucking reason is. He'll say, oops. But it doesn't matter because the job got done. Duh. Come on. It's embarrassing arguments. That dumb fuck Jordan on the internet is somehow just spitting on your fucking ideas you're saying. Blatantly. With evidence. It's actually easy to do. That's embarrassing. You're a veteran of 10,000 different wars you've been in, and this guy apparently knows nothing. Or, let's be honest, devil worshipping, full of shit motherfucker. Let's be honest. Here we go.
That's the problem. It's the fact that this is Israel. So, of course, you can't create even if you want to create a fenced-in area in the Sinai Desert where every international agency, even international militaries or security forces could help provide security of that area. Well, no.
Concentrate
It's
people
not
in
an
an
option
area?
because
Okay.
we believe Israel has nefarious goals. But I'll go to the double standard. In war, if somebody starts a war and there is a response to that war, absolutely there is population displacement until the end of the war. And then if somebody's saying,
All of
well,
it?
the border shouldn't change either, right? So everything should be the exact same as October 6th before Hamas, the government of Gaza and its military invaded Israel. People don't understand the second and third order effects of trying to create this standard because it's Israel, because you believe you know the Israel-Palestine history, which most people don't, or they're what we call revisionist history, where they try to invent the history of things that
Anti-Semitics.
have
Okay.
happened. It's because it's Israel. So I say that
It's because it's Israel. Got it. It's a good answer. It's because it's Israel. That's why if they blow a child up, it's because we're complaining because it's Israel. If it happens somewhere else, we don't even care. You know what I'm saying? No one cares if it happens somewhere else. Actually, you might have a case with some people, to be honest with you. But with me, that shit don't fly. It doesn't work. Sorry. It's because it's Israel. That sounds stupid as fuck. And you using those idiots as a way to justify your arguments sounds full of shit. Blatantly full of shit. And don't worry, you're on the right program where you'll get away with that, by the way. Dilbert and Fuckface, the intellectuals, my bad. You're safe here. Don't worry. You're very safe here. These are the dummies that need maybe not even right in their face, child blown up right in front of their fucking faces, and they might not move, which is a very scary prospect. This fool's definitely not moving, bro. He's okay with this. Yeah, kill them all. Yeah. I'm just saying. Here we go.
That argument, right? I don't attack people. I attack the veracity of their statements. And that just, as
you're avoiding all the ones that
said,
have
that dog don't
legitimacy
hunt.
to them now.
Like your facts are not right that Israel can't do this. And that the Trump plan, to call the Trump plan ethnic cleansing is insanity. It is straight TDS.
Prove it.
That the movement of people, to allow people to voluntarily leave somewhere where there is suffering, combat, awful things happening, but no, because it's Palestinians, you got to stay in there. That's insanity, and it needs to stop, because if not, and what I write about a lot as well is if you say this about Israel, are you just saying, well, this won't apply to us, UK, France, whatever. This won't happen to us. We won't have to follow these rules. We just want Israel to follow these rules. Let me get.
He's so full of shit. It's so full of shit. There's plenty of evidence and context to showcase that these guys might want people to actually get up and leave. And yes, it's from other than your fucking dude you showed before, other people a part of the ministry of the administration of Netanyahu. There are people openly saying we have to get these fools out of here. And they're not talking about Hamas. They're talking about the entire population. Openly saying that. How come that's not quoted at all? Where's the hosts pushing back and yo, we have this quote from Ben Gvir right here. It says this. Or what's his name? Beza fucking Bezzel, whatever the fuck his name is. Biz fuckface. Smoltrich. Where's his fucking quotes at? Where's that at? See, I'd be thinking if someone was being honest, they'd cover every little aspect of the entire thing to the best of their ability. I would hope so. We're on planet Earth, aren't we? And fuckfaces get to get on screen, lie to everyone. They got a Joe Rogan thumbs up. Thus, they get away with this shit. Because people are I don't know what it is. Too scared to think? Too afraid to think? I don't have the reasoning for you, but they do it anyway. This stuff like flies by anyways. I thought we were past this shit. Well, I didn't think that, but based on what people say, you would think that they'd be past this shit, but they're not. They're still getting lied to, and enough of them are buying into bullshit like this without any questions. No questions about it. Buying into bullshit. I don't know how long I'll try. Well, it's interesting, so I can run through a lot of this video. But all right, here we go. We're up to an hour already in the video, but it's like it is what it is. When I hear bullshit, I can't help but scream at it. I'm so sorry about that. I have to scream at it. Just a little bit, at least. Here we go.
Something that nobody I've ever seen on your show do is what would happen if this happened to the United States? I could talk Britain as well. What would the United States do if an October 7th style attacks? And I don't even have to do the comparative numbers, right? The fact that
we had that example. It's called 9/11, you idiot. We saw what they did. We saw it. But even that wasn't as egregious as what they're doing over here. Is it equally bad? Yes, to me. But is it as like egregious, like blatant, where it's like we give no fucks about civilians? Meaning like U.S. soldier sees a little kid crossing the street and just shoots at him. I'm sure there's that shit in pockets, but not as blatant as this shit is. I'm sorry. As much as I have problems with the Iraq War, Afghanistan, all the other wars bleeding out from there, this shit is so brazen and blatant. Of like we're here, like we'll kill every single one of them if we have to. It's so blatant that's the case. What if that happened to you? It's not good enough. You're a soldier? No, you're fucking not. You're not some fucking soldier. Get the fuck out of here. You're not. Not a fucking soldier. Get the fuck out of here, bro. I suspect real vets would be like, who the fuck is this pussy? He's a desk worker, taking medals, while you sacrifice your legs and your arms and your limbs. This guy's full of shit, in my humble opinion. Here we go.
That it's like 40,000 civilians dead and thousands taken hostages.
Oh, now you have
The
numbers.
United States military would respond immediately with overwhelming force. And I have to give people a class on what is dead and do the comparative numbers, right? The fact that it's like 40,000 civilians dead and thousands taken hostages.
What are you talking about?
The United States military would respond immediately with overwhelming force. And
what are you talking about? What are the 40,000 dead civilians? What are you talking about? Add context to it, please.
And I have to give people a class on what is proportionality in war, like what is disproportionate. The United States would have responded to October 7th with amazing military force because we have 10 active divisions. We had the ability to dominate the sky. We would have made sure not a single rocket came out of enemy areas headed towards our cities, like Los Angeles, if you talk about the southern border. There were 4,000 rockets launched by Hamas
You mean Mexico?
on the morning of October 7th. And then there were...
What are you talking about? What is he talking about? Does he mean like Mexico, like firing rockets or something? Like, what's he talking about? Was that abstraction or hypothetical? Who's the 40,000 dead? Like, who's he talking about? Who or what is he talking about? Holy Christ. I'll play it again because I had no idea, actually. I really don't know what he's talking about. Here we go.
The United States military would respond immediately with overwhelming force.
Sorry.
Let me give you something that nobody I've ever seen on your show do, is what would happen if this happened to the United States? I could talk Britain as well.
What is this?
Would the United States do if an October 7th style attacks? And I don't even have to do the comparative numbers, right? The fact that it's like 40,000 civilians dead and thousands taken hostages. The United States military would respond
Who
immediately
killed
with
40,000?
overwhelming force.
What 40,000 is he talking about? October 7th, 40,000 people were killed in one day or something? What's he talking about? I don't know what he's talking I have no idea what he's talking about, actually. I really don't. Yeah, if 40,000 American civilians died? Are you saying Israeli civilians? 40,000 civilians died? Where are you getting this from? You said you want to talk about comparative numbers, right? So, like, what is he talking about? He's not listing anything. He's not sourcing anything. He's not saying anything. The fuck? This passes over here? Is that what passes over here? What the fuck? Here we go. Okay.
United States do if an October 7th style attacks, and I don't even have to do the comparative numbers, right? The fact that it's like 40,000 civilians dead and thousands
40,000.
taken hostages. The United States military would respond immediately with overwhelming force. And I have to give people a class on what is proportionality in war. Like, what is disproportionate? The United States would have responded to October 7th with amazing military force because we have 10 active divisions. We have the ability to dominate the
and
sky.
Fuckface.
We
Ask him what he means by
not a single
40,000
rocket
killed.
came out of enemy areas headed towards our cities, like Los Angeles, if you talk about the southern border. There were 4,000 rockets launched by Hamas on the morning of October 7th, and then there were about 8,000 more launched since then. The U.S. military would immediately invaded that territory to retrieve our hostages. It would have encouraged other countries and used all of our forms of national power to encourage them to allow people to get out of harm's way.
And would have killed whatever civilians are in the area, too, right? Are you going to say that? He can't say that. Because he still works for the U.S. military, most likely. So he can't say that. No, that's the obvious case. Here we go.
Since then, the U.S. military would have immediately invaded that territory to retrieve our hostages. It would have encouraged other countries and used
Hamas is so
all of
tricky
our
that
forms of national power to encourage them to allow people to get out of harm's way. And we would have tried to end it as quickly as possible. And I think that's where people misunderstand. We would also have done the same things Israel is doing to try to protect civilians. And I have boldly said, and I challenge anybody, prove me wrong, that Israel has done more to protect civilians, as in the measures that any military has ever created in history.
What's that?
And because people don't know these, they haven't studied these. They're called civilian harm mitigation measures.
I'm an expert.
Israel has done more than any nation in history, to include any Western nation.
But how come, like, they've done more, but their numbers, like, as far as I've seen the numbers showcase, they just kill so many civilians willy-nilly. Make that make sense, Devil Worshiper. Make that make sense. Like, please. They've done more to protect civilians, but they're really bad at it, and they accidentally, like, kill absorbent amount of civilians. Oops. Is that his reasoning for that? Like, what's his actual reasoning for that? Like, that doesn't make sense. They do every protective measure possible, the most in war history, apparently, and yet the results are, like, the worst. It's not the worst, but, like, amongst the worst. Like, they're actually rivaling, according to this Matt Cockrell guy, they're actually rivaling the Holocaust, like fucking World War II, you dummy. They're actually rivaling that, like, and they're trying their best to not kill civilians, and yet they're measuring up to the fucking massacre of massacres. How does that happen? Did we say oops for that? Or do they change strategy or something like that? Maybe they do that. I don't know. If it really is about strategy and they're just terrible at it. Like, oops, we're massacring a shit ton of civilians. Maybe change what we're doing now because we care about the civilians. Maybe do that. But let's be honest. This guy's here to delay time. He's here to kill time for Dilbert and Fuckface's audience, to make them delay longer before they're like, Wait a minute, this is wrong. He's here to delay time for them before they realize something fucked up is happening. That's what he's here for. And Dilbert and Fuckface are here to help him delay it, in my humble opinion. Look at their blank fucking stares. Nothing. Nothing incredible being said, guys? Nothing at all? Once again, if I know nothing about this topic, nothing is said that's where I was like, damn, do you have, like, can you prove that for us? Nothing, guys? Nothing. You guys are embarrassment. Quit your fucking jobs. Quit YouTube. Walk away. Go raise your kids or whatever the fuck you got in your life. Your dog. Go walk your fucking dog. Whatever the fuck you got in your life. Go do that instead. And this guy should join you. Go back to fucking kindergarten. 5th graders outflank all 3 of you. 5th graders do. Quit your shit. Move on. Fuck. Thank you, Rogan, for this. Your unquestioning dumb fuckery leads to shit like this. It's not his fault, right? Well, I can't blame him for that. Like, he's just an idiot. Or he's full of shit. But either way, it's like up to them to make their own choices in life, right? I'm just saying. But it's like, Jesus Christ, Rogan, quit. Give your shit away. Sell your property. Sell all of it. Give all your money away. Leave and do something else. I beg you to. Here we go.
Have done to protect civilians.
We would have done some of those. Nice answer. It's not
but
even
we
harsh.
would have immediately responded with overwhelming. That's the goal in war, is to use overwhelming military force to convince your enemy to do your will, as in to either give back the hostages,
that's
surrender, well. or you take what it values most, which is its population centers and its land. That's war. That's why
you take their population centers. Does that mean like bomb hospitals, universities, daycares, willy-nilly? Is that what that means? Oh my God. Saying this out loud. I bet there's a lot of fuckfaces that think they're smart. They're actually idiots. Don't realize they're getting fucking played with all this. You dummies. Here we go.
Framework of this is all wrong.
John, I'm really glad that we're having this conversation.
Oh, you're
because
glad, huh?
The old adage says the first casualty of war is the truth. And one of the difficulties that has been for me when I've been following this, because we've been conducting these interviews, and I'm sure everybody, is working out what is true and what isn't. So let's talk about the casualties. How do we know that these casualties the stats are accurate, or as accurate as they possibly can be? They say women and children killed. What do they mean by children? Does that mean up to the age of 18, 21? Women, could these women be combatants as well? Explain a little bit more for us.
Sure.
Could the children be combatants? Was the question I was asked. It wasn't asked like, well, how many are... Okay, let's go over how many are killed. Then contextually, by the data, how many of them are considered Hamas fucking fighters? That's the correct question to ask. How many are killed overall, and how many are contextualized as Hamas combatants? Like, I won't deny, like, a 16-year-old might join Hamas and fight on their side. Why not substantiate that with a real question? But he didn't ask a real question, did he? It's full of shit off rip. Once again, 5th graders, 5-year-olds can do this better than these guys can. Here we go.
Well, one, I've already explained that nobody in the history of war has ever been asked, but what's your civilian to combatant ratio? Nobody's ever taken the enemy's word on the casualty count. But fine, even if you took the enemy's casualty count, so Hamas, the Gaza Health Ministry, one, if you believe that there's a number or a story or a photo that leaves Gaza without the permission of Hamas, then you're biased. Mm-hmm. So of the casualty counts, and I know I heard Piers Morgan say there's been 20,000 kids killed in Gaza, which is a lie. I really find it weird.
Okay, so there's a statement. There's someone else's statement, and now he's going to debunk it. As Dilbert says, Here we go. Let's see him debunk this. Here we go.
So of the casualty counts, and I know I heard Piers Morgan say there's been 20,000 kids killed in Gaza, which is a lie. Not,
It's
I
probably
really
undercount,
find it
honestly.
weird that people that are just anti-Israel will say numbers that even Hamas doesn't say. You're absolutely right if we talk about children, right? Because that's really where they go to. Like, John,
What's
I
it,
don't care if you say Israel has
18,500?
done more. They're not effective. I'm like, that's not true either. The Hamas Gaza Health Ministry numbers have been shown to be methodologically and statistically, even data centrically wrong, full of errors, full of double names. Have you
So if someone's named John Smith, to be called that, if there's another person called John Smith, to be called that a double name? Not saying he doesn't have evidence for what he's saying. I'm just saying, like, that is a thought that should pop up in your brain. I'm just saying, based on this guy's previous answers to questions. Now, please, Devil Worshiper, please bring up the stats, names, anything. Not one case, but as many cases as you can get your fucking hands on. Please bring it up. Here we go.
ever ask any of these people that use these numbers, have you seen the Gaza Health Ministry list of people who have died by natural causes? No, it doesn't exist. So 20,000 kids, supposedly. You're right. The United Nations puts kids at 18.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a list of people, anybody below the age of 18. I joined the military at 17. I would have been on that list. The fact that Hamas has radicalized the entire population and deploys child soldiers, they don't care. Nobody cares. But what?
No, there's context for this. You can contextually, you can compare Gaza's numbers with Israeli numbers and say, like, okay, this guy was Hamas, or this person was Hamas, or whatever the fuck. You can compare them. So this is not good enough, right? Of an answer? Or maybe Israel's not giving out those things, in which case, you're lost. You're in the fucking desert at that point. You're lost. You don't know anything then. So, all right, here we go. Sorry for cutting him off. I'm sure he has a really good answer for this. Here we go.
In the military at 17, I would have been on that list. The fact that Hamas has radicalized the entire population and deploys child soldiers, they don't care. Nobody cares. But what about the
There's no
the
stats
babies,
for that, though.
John? I'm like, okay, I absolutely agree. And this is the insanity of, you want perfection in war? You want a bloodless war?
Oh, you want
perfection. The laws of war
perfection.
account for civilian death and say you have to take everything reasonable and feasible to prevent it. And Israel has done that. But back to the numbers.
Wait. You showed pictures and shit on your own fucking podcast and all that? Oh, baby's dying? Like, yeah, I understand that. I get that. But, yeah, nothing. Moves on. If I take anyone listening in the Discord on planet Earth and said, okay, your baby gets hit with a bomb when they're in a simple-ass hospital, right? And it may be in an incubator or whatever, in the arms of a doctor or a mom, and they get blown up and killed or starved. You say, that's just war. That's war. Now, Dave Smith gave the reaction that I would think any regular person would have, where it's like, what the fuck you just say? He's like, holy shit. But Dilbert and Fuckface, yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. Sorry, he kind of brushed over. I'll rewind because he brushed over very, very, very quickly. Brushed over that idea. He brought it up, then dismissed it, and moved on. Here we go.
Has radicalized the entire population and deploys child soldiers, they don't care. Nobody cares.
The entire
population. But what about the baby?
Let's rewind again. The entire population has been radicalized. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. So that's a list of people, anybody below the age of 18. I joined the military at 17. I would have been on that list.
Good enough.
The fact that Hamas has radicalized the entire population and deploys child soldiers, they don't care.
The entire population is radicalized.
But what about the babies, John? I'm like, okay, I absolutely agree. And this is the insanity of, you want perfection in war? You want a bloodless war? The laws of war account for civilian death and say you have to take everything reasonable and feasible to prevent it. And Israel has done that. But back to the numbers.
Anyways.
No way And
anyways, can't be perfect. Anyways, with the babies, yeah, I absolutely agree. But you can't be perfect. Anyways, let's move on. No argument needed. You heard his words.
Or civilian death and say you have to take everything reasonable and feasible to prevent it. And Israel has done that. But back to the numbers.
They did that.
There is
okay. Well, anyways,
no way, and this is again, you have people, insane people, and I'm sorry that they're in the UK, who say they've figured out a way to figure out how many casualties have died. So they won't even take Hamas's numbers, right? Which again, every statistic that has spread around the world has been shown to be false. That's not what Hamas says.
What do you think?
The majority women.
So you first tell us that it's hard to count, but now you're telling us every count is false. Tell me what it is then. That's saying you know what it is then. Or, sorry, ballpark. You know the ballpark of it, right? Okay. Tell me the ballpark.
Who say they've figured out a way to figure out how many casualties have died. So they won't even take Hamas's numbers, right? Which again, every statistic that has spread around the world has been shown to be false. That's not what Hamas says. The majority women, majority children. False, false. The fact that they can try to say, well, this many innocent civilians. And this is where I really, as an analyst of multiple wars, is that we believe, not me, but other people, that there is somebody in Gaza who can point to a body, even if it's an adult male, and say, well, that person was a combatant and that person was not a combatant. They weren't partaking in the hostilities. Is there civilian death in Gaza? Absolutely. It's a war. And Hamas Hamas kills people themselves. I mean, over 20% of Hamas's rockets, so over 13,000 rockets they've launched at.
Wait, they got stats for me. Here we go. Increasing trend in amount of failed Hamas / the IJ rocket launches landing in the Gaza Strip. Okay. So they use screenshots to support dummies fucking narrative. Got it. Okay. Here we go.
Was not a combatant. They weren't partaking in the hostilities.
That sounds fair, doesn't it?
Is there civilian death in Gaza? Absolutely. It's a war.
It's war.
And Hamas kills people themselves. I mean, over 20% of Hamas's rockets, so over 13,000 rockets they've launched at Israel, have landed inside of Gaza, killing Gazans. They go on the list. Really, anybody who's died for any reason goes on the list. If you were a Hamas terrorist who crossed the border into Israel to kill, slaughter, rape, and maim, and died, you're on the list. The list is insane, but and other people have picked it apart from a data perspective. I think it's insane that there's a fascination on the list.
Why can't you do that?
When the actual question for any military other than Israel is that military following the laws of war in distinction, necessity, proportionality, and overwhelming? It is yes. There's actually not been a single case to be shown that Israel has targeted civilians. Has there been collateral damage? Yes. But
I'm sorry. See, this video is going to get me kicked off of YouTube. Possibly. But it is what it is. I'm sorry, guys. Where is this at? Sorry, this was for the other dummies that don't realize that Israelis also don't like what's happening. Not everyone, but enough. This is an Israeli high school kid saying, fuck this shit. I'm burning my fucking my draft card. Right, there's more images of that. Here's Israelis protesting this stuff. Here's more Israelis. By the way, they're probably getting their fucking teeth kicked in, being honest. Right, just so that the media doesn't pick up on what they're doing, right? So you kick their teeth in, scare them, hope they go away. That no one knows that there's actual people there protesting this shit. Anyways, let's keep it moving. Laura Loomer, dumb fuck. What was that? Those are unarmed civilians getting bombed. I'm sure you don't care about that. That's the aerial footage. Where's my video of the little girl crossing the street? Where's that at? Is it? Did it get deleted? Oh, okay. wait. The U.S. State Department got a contextual. Okay. Where's... Did my bookmark get deleted? Wait a fucking minute. So I have a video with a girl with a water jug. Like kind of, aimlessly running across the street. Because she's like a little kid carrying this heavy-ass water jug, right? And a drone strike hits her directly and kills her. And unfortunately, I don't see that in my feed anymore. A little bizarre. I don't think it's this one. This one is definitely, yeah, that's people just walking, right? I mean, that was Hamas. That was Hamas. That happened right there, obviously. It's a GHF guy. Because, like, let's be real. This interview with these guys right here and this interview with this guy, I think, is a result of the Anthony or Tony Aguilar interviews with, mainstream guys, right? Like Tucker Carlson, breaking points. I think he did something with Dropsite News. He did something with Bernie Sanders. Like, it's mainstream now, right? So thus you have to come out of your brains to make it work a certain way. There's the subway guy, by the way. Like, fuck you, bitch. He's like, he threw a sandwich at me. Get him. Little unathletic little fuck faces. I don't see my video of the little girl. If I find it, I'll post it in here. I'll post it in the description box. But that was a video I saw. Maybe it got deleted or something, but I did bookmark that one, I'm pretty sure. Unless I'm very much mistaken and I'm an idiot. So just blame me for it, whatever. All right, let's continue on. Here we go.
But here's some numbers in case people are fascinated with the numbers, which I think is really problematic. Because again, when you have a combatant, a non-state actor like Hamas, who purposely doesn't wear a uniform.
They don't have a state, period. So anyone there is a non-state actor. You do it that way. But here we go.
Doesn't distinguish itself. Just that. I mean, in Ukraine, millions of civilians joined the fight against the Russian invasion, and they wrapped the yellow or blue tape around their arm. I don't know where they got all this tape, but they immediately distinguished themselves, even if they're carrying ammunition or whatever, as partaking in the hostilities. But let's talk about numbers, right?
What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Are you saying all the Palestinians are joining in on this war, and they don't take the time to put like tape on their fucking arm? Okay, is that what you're saying? I think that's what he's saying, which should be like, once again, kindergarten level of like, excuse me, I have a question for you. On the kindergarten level, except for Dilbert and Fuckface here. These guys are stone cold, brilliant geniuses, 180 IQ geniuses that
immediately distinguished themselves, even if they're carrying ammunition or whatever, as partaking in the hostilities. But let's talk about numbers, right? So everybody, I was getting the number early in the war, like 10,000 people killed. I'm like, okay, it's a war that nobody's seen in modern history. All those variables, the size of the combatant,
no one has
the
ever seen.
dense urban areas. But there's only one battle in American history. I can't find one in British history that has any of the parallels, as in
Rwanda,
the density of the urban terrain, the presence of civilians,
Germany.
A vicious enemy. And that's the 1945 Battle of Manila. I don't know if you know it. In 1945, after the U.S. military was defeated in the Philippines, we returned, and there were roughly 3,000 to 4,000 POWs and internees, so hostages, men, women, and children being held in the city of Manila, a city of about 1.1 million. There were 17,000 Japanese defenders. The U.S. military attacked to retrieve our hostages and liberate the city with about 35,000. So even the scale is not correct. In that battle, we retrieved our hostages, but again, 35,000 American and other attacking the city of 17,000 Japanese defenders. There were 100,000 civilians that died in that battle. And nobody made a New York Times op-ed that was on the cover that saying too many civilians died in this war.
There was no op-ed in the 1940s about the internet genocide. It's laughable. You're so full of shit. Where's the op-ed from the New York Times? Like, would there be one in 1940s saying America did bad here? Actually, what's ironic enough is that people try to bring up atrocities that America's military or intelligence agencies have committed, and it gets shot down by people like you. So what the fuck are you talking about? This guy's a little... Bro, I don't believe him, bro. This guy's not a combat vet, bro. He's a little pussy. I'm very sure of that. He's a little bitch. I'm very sure of that, bro. He'd get slapped up real quick, in my humble opinion. I don't believe him. All right, here we go.
Why was that? Well, because it's war, because the Japanese were the ones who were slaughtering
because
civilians
it's war.
in that war. Or let me give you one other one. Again,
give me another scenario that's not talking about the scenario that we're fucking talking about. Please, give me another one. Please do that.
Station with the numbers is crazy.
But John, can I just interrupt you there? I know you were saying this fascination with numbers is crazy. I do understand. And from an academic perspective, I agree with you.
Yeah, Dilbert.
But let's also be honest. You know, this is a war that has not just been fought on the battlefield. It's not just been fought diplomatically. It's also been fought in the modern day arena of social media. And there are millions of people all over the world, particularly in the West, who are having horrific images shown on their phones of horrendous suffering of civilians.
Okay.
So I know what you're saying, but also as well, I do understand the fascination, because if you've just seen a baby blown up, then that's going to be at the forefront of your mind, surely.
Absolutely. And again, if you started
studying low IQ,
war on October 7th, you wouldn't realize that that is a uniqueness as well, right? The fact that a war of this scale and of this viciousness is aired on the phones, the algorithm actually drives it to their phones.
Oh, okay. It's a social media problem.
Thing that's happened in war gets driven to the you
guys are probably asleep right now,
minds of massive populations. That is unique. And this is where, if we would have had TikTok during the Korean War, right? In the Korean War, 50,000, over 2 million civilians died in the Korean War. It's a 37-month war. That's 50,000 civilians dying a month for every month of the war for 37 months.
Now, the Matthew Cockrell guy made a claim that even the civilian to combatant ratio it was only slightly higher in the Korean War. Slightly higher. Meaning, like, you have numbers to work with. Someone made a statement. Deal with that. But of course, I don't expect, State Department fuckface to actually say anything, like Devil Worshiper to say anything about that. But these two, Dilbert and fuckface, where the fuck are you guys at? Where you at? Once again, for a kindergartner. Well, but sir, we were talking about Israel Gaza. So can you bring up those numbers or something? You fucking idiot. These guys can't find themselves to find those questions. What they're saying is, well, these lesser intellectuals have an emotional attachment to things and they don't get it. Explain it to them. Sorry, I have to walk away with that idea. I have to at this point because they're not pushing back on like yo, hey, excuse me, John, answer the fucking question. We asked you a question. Can you answer that for us, please? They can't do that because they're dumb, full of shit. Here we go.
Had we had TikTok during that, of course.
Had we had TikTok.
Different. Had this not been Israel, there would be something different because they start with the image and like, that's awful. Israel did this on purpose. And they don't want to listen to anybody with any contradictory information about why is this happening. And
I'm willing to listen. You're not bringing actual contradictory information. You're not saying anything of substance in regards to the claims I've heard so far. That's why you come off as full of shit, you fucking idiot. Go find the stuff of substance and go rebuttal those guys. Then you'll have something for me. Otherwise, I have to view you as a little devil-worshipping little full of shit motherfucker. Please pull out a fucking chain with a cross on it. I dare you to. Big Christian-ass motherfucker, bro. I dare you to. Here we go.
The ideal that,
He's so emotional.
Of course, it's awful. Look what's happening.
Right,
and there are innocent civilians who are dying, but that's not the intention, which we could get to this.
How do we know? How do you know that?
Genocidal intent.
How do you know that?
That is not the intention of the IDF in any way, shape, or form. It is actually the intention of Hamas.
How do you know that? Well, they call hospitals before they blow it up. That's not good enough. Of someone trying to prove that they're avoiding civilian casualties. It's not good enough. We called them 5 minutes before we bombed. It's a fucking hospital. There's people in beds and on incubators, whatever the fuck they're on. They're not healthy people. That's why they're in fucking hospitals. Let's see them prove that. Like, I'm very curious.
Do you realize that every individual in Gaza could fit in Hamas's tunnels with ease? There's over 400 miles of tunnels. All 2.2 million civilians could fit in those tunnels, but you've never seen an image of a single civilian in those. And I do war around the world. In Ukraine, the civilians sought refuge because Russia didn't give notice in the tunnels. And they still do in the subways and all that to escape the awful attacks of Russia. So yes, you're right. Absolutely. There is a fascination, again, with Israel because I haven't seen protest about the awful things, and I don't do whataboutism, but it's just actual veracity of comment. Where are you on the atrocities that are happening in Yemen and Sudan and all these other areas, even in humanitarian
where the U.S. bombs
aid distribution? During the Somalia war, 200 to 300,000 people had died of starvation, and then the United Nations and others tried to get aid to the population and failed. Because the clans took it, they killed humanitarian aid workers. I'm fine if people are anti-war.
Well, okay. I do have a video recorded where it's dumb fucknometry talking to Piers Morgan, and I didn't see. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I didn't see like contextual images and shit like that to tug at heartstrings. To make Pierce look correct, even with his mediocre counter arguments about the topic with Israel Gaza, right? Like his arguments were actually mediocre, but these guys couldn't even handle that. They had to like jump in and push back. There is no contextual images or articles and shit like that. It's just not there. It's weird. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? Like fucking weird to you? Here we go.
I'm not fine if people are anti-fact on what is happening in Gaza.
Let me introduce you to the people.
Yeah, sell gold. Sell gold. Yeah, sell gold. You fucking losers.
This may be
you fucking losers.
So, and I'm glad we talked about the aid situation because again,
look at them.
Explode any myths. I've been reading about this. This may be completely incorrect. Was there a 3-month aid and food blockade by the IDF preventing food and aid entering Gaza?
No. So there was an 11-week. Is that 3 months? No, that's 2.5 months. Yeah. An 11-week pause. But again, even the people that you've had on who so-called are informed about it don't give you the full picture. So during the last ceasefire, which was right before this pause of the humanitarian going in, it was 42 days of cease. There were 25,000 trucks of aid that went in during those 42 days. And
give me a fucking date. Be thorough. Why is it so vague when it comes to like actually? Be fucking thorough. Give me the date of the ceasefire. You said 42 days. That's a very exact number. Tell me what days that happened. Otherwise, we don't exactly know what the fuck you're talking about to be like very intellectual about it. Wouldn't like even that simple thing, Wouldn't an interviewer be like, "Hey man, like what? Okay, 42 days. When did it start? When did it, like starting and ending? Please tell us when." But these guys apparently have to keep their fucking mouth shut. But they claim to be intellectuals and more academic about things. Get the fuck out of here. It's a lie, bro. These are fucking posers. They better ask this, bro. Otherwise they're full of shit. Here we go.
That don't give you the full picture. So during the last ceasefire, which was
The last ceasefire,
right
that's not
before
good
this
enough.
pause of the humanitarian
Not
aid
good
going
enough.
in, it was 42 days of cease.
Not good enough.
There were
What dates?
25,000 trucks of aid that went in during those
Give me
42
the
days.
dates.
And then there was a
What's the dates for
pause
that?
in more aid going in while Israel and the United States enacted the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation in southern Gaza, mostly 3 sites in southern Gaza, 1 in northern Gaza. Nobody talks about, well, where did that 25,000 trucks of aid go and how long would that last while Israel developed a plan to continue the war, but also move civilians into southern Gaza and increase the aid there.
Yeah.
They never said they wanted to stop UN aid. They said they wanted to phase it out because of the fact not only was Hamas gathering, and I saw some,
Prove that Hamas took the majority portions of the aid, or any aid at all. Prove it. Don't just say that. Why is the thing that like he's like actually giving like direct answers for? Why are they not questioning that? Why aren't they asking for like, okay, where's your documentation or proof for this? Show that. How come they're not asking for that? Fuckface hasn't opened his mouth in fucking 38 fucking minutes, apparently. Come on. Like, wearing a suit does not make you fucking smart. Fucking dummies. They're so stupid. These are dumb people. Claim to be fucking smart. It bothers me. Here we go. I'm sorry. I guess I'm a far leftist, babbling, whining person. But at the same time, your intellectuals are dumb as rocks. They're actually stupid. There's plenty of pertinent questions that should have been asked a lot already. And here's some more statements that require questions that they're not actually asking. But maybe they do. Maybe there's a Q&A at the very end or something. But right now, nothing. Here we go.
Recently of course, there was a humanitarian crisis happening, but of all the people to be blamed, it was only Israel being blamed, right? And this is the 1,000 trucks of the United Nations, because people won't give you the timeline. And I love long form podcasts because let's talk about it. Let's talk about
trying to channel
the ceasefire, right?
Professor
So not
X.
only did 25,000 trucks
smart.
of aid go in, Hamas insisted
You're not smart,
and
guy.
would not give hostages back unless Israel allowed 1 million Palestinians to move back into northern Gaza on top of rubble, minefields, everything, so that it would be really hard for Israel to continue the war and provide humanitarian aid, which was centered on the south of Gaza.
So is he talking about, what's he talking about? Like quote unquote hostages being released as part of a deal? Is that what he's saying? I don't exactly know what thing he's talking about. Also don't know. He said 42 days. I don't know what time period he's like. Is it from July to August? Is it from like what are you saying? Is it January to February? Like what are you talking about? How come you're not being fucking detailed about this? Right? He's saying it as like a fact. So like give me the fucking details. And as a person interviewing someone, you would ask for fucking details, right? Right, Dilbert? You're smart, aren't you? You're academic. You went to university. Aren't you fucking smart? Isn't that a simple fucking question that a kindergarten could come up with? Dilbert? Or no? You're going to sit there, fold your hands, and go, mm-hmm, and nod up and down, mm-hmm. Embarrassing. I should not react to things, bro. I get too fucking tilted, and I just say things. Forgive me, audience. I get too much care about this stuff, and I get fucking angry. And these guys are not good enough for this. They should quit and do something else. Go do like sports broadcasting, guys. I'm sure you can yell "goal" really loud. Go do that instead. Please, I beg you to. Here we go.
For some reason, that escapes people that the fact that there was this massive population displacement back into northern Gaza for Hamas's strategy. And what Israel was trying to do was concentrate the aid distribution into southern Gaza. People don't also recognize that there's been the statistic of how much does flour cost, right? So there's some really good analysis about the price of flour going up in northern Gaza. Okay, who's selling the flour? That's actually not just Hamas, but there's not a production of any aid going in Gaza. It's a war zone. So that's aid that's been delivered
just
that
say whatever the
Hamas
fuck he
and Gaza civilians
No
take
questions.
and then sell
None?
back to civilians. It's a war zone. You know,
None?
the idea that
Nothing?
you're making Gazans walk through combat areas to get to the aid in southern Gaza. The entire Gaza Strip is a war zone. What are you people talking about? Israel tried to create a mechanism to get the aid directly to the people, and it was successful. But then let's talk about how Hamas tried to make it unsuccessful. Before the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation gave out one box of food, Hamas put out written guidance and oral, like they put it on their X feeds, they put it out everywhere. If you take a single meal from this initiative, you will face severe consequences. And then they went out and attacked the humanitarian zone. And yes, it was chaos. Is it the most chaos that's ever been seen in war? No, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Fuck.
It was chaos because Hamas was causing it. And the IDF adjusted their operations in securing the outer zones. And no, I'm not a fan of warning shots. What I'm not a fan of more, though, is people that selectively.
What? Okay. What do you think he means by warning shots? I'm not a fan of warning shots. This is like, for me, like on a human level, like patent evidence that he's actually responding to the Tony Aguilar things. He's here just for that. That's what it looks like. I'm not a fan of warning shots. The fuck does that mean? Describe the warning shots. How come he won't do that? Describe them. Tony did. Describe the fucking warning shots. You mean like shots at the feet? Shots over the head? Shots in the area to make them scatter or something? Like, hey, run away, we're shooting at you. Describe it. How come there's no fucking detail with these guys? They just say things. Kids, bro. Losers. Actual losers. Here we go.
That's absolutely ridiculous. It was chaos because Hamas was causing it. And the IDF adjusted their operations in securing the outer zones. Okay. And no, I'm not a fan of warning shots.
Okay.
What I'm not a fan of more, though, is people that selectively take the facts and paint the story with that nefarious, bad Israeli intention here is that they were trying to starve the population.
Once again, he is dog whistling of you're an anti-Semite. And I think he's talking about Tony Aguilar again, or Anthony Aguilar. The Green Beret that went on Tucker Carlson, Breaking Points, Bernie Sanders. I think he was on Brianna Joy Gray's show, right? Bad Faith. I think he was on there. This guy is here to try to debunk him. And these guys, I think, know that. I think they know that. And they're here to make it look like they're being critical or asking questions, but these guys talk every 30 minutes, apparently, or every 20 minutes. There's no real, actual questioning or push. He says so much bullshit as he just keeps talking and talking about incidences and stories and ideas with no one asking questions like, wait, stop there. What do you mean by that? And it's 40 different, data points. They're just skipping over. They're just saying them. I'm sorry for repeating myself, but it is what it is. How are you not upset by tilted by this? I am. It is what it is. I'm giving my natural reaction. I'm tilted by hearing this shit. No pushback, and clearly agenda driven. Let's counter Tony Aguilar. Clearly. It's ridiculous. All right, here we go.
Selectively take the facts and paint the story
Okay.
with that nefarious, bad Israeli intention here is that they were trying to starve the population. Absolutely not, right? This is the idea of how much aid, not just food, medical supplies, field hospitals, new water pipes that Israel has done to try to get to the people. And we have to talk about even the people being a part of this. In war, if you get the notice to evacuate, then those civilians should evacuate. But because of Hamas and other reasons, you see civilians not evacuating areas that when evacuation notices, because they have been told to evacuate and then Hamas pushed them back and now they're being asked to be moved again.
So the answer is bomb them. You told them to leave. They didn't leave, or they didn't leave in enough time. So the answer is to what? That'd be another good question to ask. But then again, we are on 10,000 questions that could have been asked already that have not been asked. I'm sorry. You're not asking them. They're right there. They're layups of questions. They don't ask them. Now, maybe he'll say an answer for this. Maybe. But his trend has been to, as far as, like, if we're going to follow, like, Hamas's trajectory of behavior, we have to follow this guy's trajectory of behavior. And based on that, this guy says things, doesn't actually account for it, and moves on. So maybe we hold him, like, if we were intellectuals, maybe we hold him to that standard. Maybe, or maybe not, for whatever reason. Here we go.
The insanity here is the nefarious Israel was trying to starve the population as a mechanism of warfare, and that's not true. Just if
it's
you
not
just
true
lay out all the facts,
because
what happened
I said so.
from the last ceasefire until today, which Israel has flooded. Now you have flooding of aid going in, not just from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The UN decided,
and for that, what was it, 2-month period, 3-month period, where it wasn't? What was that then? And also, let's be honest, the aid going in right now through this GHF thing, it's a failure. Let's be honest. So a good interviewer would be like, hey man, so is anyone starving, right? Like, there's no one starving then, right? There's a flood of aid, as you called it. Can you give me a story or an account where there's a flooding of aid coming in? Show me. Tell me and show me. You're not there right now. So, like, so then you saw something, right? So, like, show me. Please, show me the evidence of that. I know I'm saying that. It needs to be on record that, like, there isn't, it's not some dumb fuck like, oh my God, Israel. I'm actually bringing up, like, questions for this guy to actually answer to, that he's not actually answering to while he's saying these things. That can't be ignored, I think. That is absolutely necessary, I think. Do not fall for, like, oh, fuck, Israel guy, fuck him. Actually follow the tenets of it, because that's what's required anyways, right? Whether it's a guy who's full of shit or for real. Either way, you have to ask these questions. So then ask them, please. Don't just go with this guy, oh, he's pro-Israel, so fuck him. Don't do that. It lets them do your thing. Live your own life, you know? But I'm saying, like for me personally, I can't just do that. I have to say this, like, say these things, and make the videos the way I make videos, on purpose. And I have to do that for me personally. So, all right, here we go. Here's more of Devil Worshiper. Here we go.
Warfare, and that's not true. Just if you just lay out all the facts, what happened from the last ceasefire until today, which Israel has flooded.
See your vampire.
Now you have flooding of aid going in, not just from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The UN decided to start picking up the trucks again because of why they said they were stopping. You have airdrops. You have many mechanisms. I don't see that being the cover of anybody's news, though.
Wait, he actually has vampire teeth.
Gaza with aid.
Well,
I haven't seen that.
John,
show us.
Even if people are...
So then show us. Show us then. There's no news coverage of that. Well, you're on a show. You're doing essentially, you guys are like news in a way. They can make YouTube shorts out of this or Twitter account videos of this. So then show us. Show us, prove it to us. That's it. You're mad that other people won't show your evidence? You just show your own evidence. Do that. But then again, those are kindergarten questions when we're dealing with dumb fucks. Idiots and fucking subverters. AKA devil worshippers. But here we go.
Mechanisms. I don't see that being the cover of anybody's news, though. Israel floods Gaza with aid.
Well,
I haven't seen that.
John, even if people accept all of that, which of course many people dispute, but let's say it's all true, even many people who are supportive of Israel's campaign to destroy Hamas, including Andrew Fox, who we had on the show recently, as you know, feel that not much is being achieved anymore. Like, what is the goal now? Like, I know there's 25 hostages left, but is what is happening now, the continued destruction of Gaza, the killing of thousands of people, is that really worth, and also, of course, the damage to Israel's reputation? Because you can talk about the realities on the ground. The fact is that if there is one war that Israel is definitely not winning, it's the PR war, right? That's just a fact. And by the way, I have to say, we've tried to have the Prime Minister of Israel on our show many times. We've invited him on because I believe it's very important for the world to hear from them as well.
No, you guys are lame.
You don't.
Sorry, you're limp dicks. You're not movers or anything like that, bro. I'm sorry. You're not movers of anything. You guys are lame dicks. Actual lame dicks. You're actual lame dicks. You can invite Netanyahu on your fucking program. I don't know what answers you expect to get from him. You guys don't seem to like actually ask questions that would actually challenge someone unless they're calling out what's happening in Israel, as you did with Piers Morgan. But I don't actually expect you to like actually question anything. So I don't know why Netanyahu would be afraid of your podcast or whatever. Fuckface-nometry. I don't know why anyone would be afraid of that thing. But all right, here we go.
Definitely not winning. It's the PR war, right? That's just a fact. And by the way, I have to say, we've tried.
By the way, fuck the PR war if there's something tragic happening, right, guys? Right? So Dilbert and fuckface. It's kind of like fuck the PR. Let's get to like, are you guys like massacring civilians on purpose? Let's find out. All right? It's like fuck the PR war, right? Fuck that at that point. Then again, we're dealing with Dilbert and fuckface. Here we go.
Talk about the realities on the ground. The fact is that if there is one war that Israel is definitely not winning, it's the PR war, right? That's just a fact. And by the way, I have to say, we've tried to have the Prime Minister of Israel on our show many times. We've invited him on because I believe it's very important for the world to hear from them as well. And we're just, you don't seem to get anywhere, and they don't seem to do many interviews with even fair-minded people like us. So it just feels like their side is not really putting out their message in the way that you might be. But my question to you is, which is what I'd like to ask them really, is what is now being achieved by continuing this war? What is the rationale here?
I don't attack people. I attack veracity of statements.
You don't.
Has Israel been successful?
He's lying. He didn't, actually. You didn't actually attack the veracity of statements. You didn't actually do that. You used narratives. He used another war to describe this genocide, honestly. That's not good enough. So you don't actually attack the veracity of arguments. And by the way, once again, as a 5-year-old kindergartner, there's better questions to be asked that you're not actually answering for. Fuckface, devil worshiper. Like, okay, I'm sorry. This guy clearly has some sort of agenda or whatever the fuck he's doing with his argumentation, right? Clear as day. There's no way around it. He's either biased in the sense of brainwashing, in my humble opinion, or he knows and he's doing it anyways, which means what? Devil worshiper, in my humble opinion. Anyways, all right, here we go. Let's be fair. Here we go.
Ask them really is what is now being achieved by continuing this war? What is the rationale here?
I don't attack people. I attack veracity of statements.
Okay.
Has Israel been successful at achieving its goals in the last 21 months? One, we have a fascination with short wars. The idea that if you accept, which again, if people, everybody can have their own opinions about the war, but they can't have their own facts.
Okay.
They can't have their own facts about what Israel has done and what
Bring some
Hamas
up.
has done.
Okay, well, let's talk about the facts.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Good pushback, fuckface. Good pushback. See, like, what are the facts? Say them. Don't just say, like, oh, well, you can have, this or that, but the facts are the facts. Tell us some facts, because you have not done that yet. He hasn't done that even a little bit yet. When he brings up facts, he brings up other fucking conflicts or whatever the fuck. That's not good enough for this one, right? Like, bring up some fucking facts. Here we go. Very curious. Very
facts.
curious.
Okay.
They can't have their own facts about what Israel has done and what Hamas has done.
Okay, well, let's talk about the facts. What are Israel's war goals? And then we
Absolutely.
can assess whether they've achieved them, and also whether continuing the war helps to.
That's your fucking question. What are their war goals? Dude, the very beginning of this fucking video, he's like, well, the numbers are kind of bullshit. Okay, what are the numbers then? You didn't ask that, did you? Your follow-up question is, what are Israel's war goals? Like, come on, dude. You can make that look good, or in other cases, you can make it look bad. Intellectually speaking, you guys are failing. You are failures at your job so far. But here we go.
They can have their own opinions about the war, but they can't have their own facts.
Okay.
They can't have their own facts about what Israel has done and what Hamas has done.
Okay, well, let's talk about the facts. What are Israel's war goals? And then we can assess whether they've achieved them, and also whether continuing the war helps to achieve more of them.
Whether they
Right.
achieve
So if you
their
study
goals
war,
or
then
not.
this is why I wanted to interview the Prime Minister, the Minister of Defense, and the head of the IDF. Just that chain is how. Somebody recently said on your show that this is just for political reasons. I'm like, okay, war by definition is the pursuit of political goals. Israel's 3 goals have not changed since October 8th. And if you listen to the Prime Minister, Minister Dermer, everybody in Israel's political military apparatus, the goals have not changed. Number 1, return the hostages. Israel has returned through the use of many forms of national power, both
You didn't explain the actual ceasefire deals. You didn't actually explain those. So please go over those details of the ceasefires and explain how Hamas, I guess, fucked it up or broke it or something. You didn't do that. So hostages, sorry. Can't use your explanation for hostages. Can't use it. Let's move on.
Military and political, over 200 of the 250 hostages in less than 21 months. Against a irrational actor who will only give up hostages if they think they need to in order to pursue their strategy of surviving the war. So number 1 goal. Number 2 goal was to dismantle Hamas's military and remove them from power in Gaza.
Okay, you have to also attach to that same ceasefire of if there's a state for Palestinians, the claim of Hamas is we will drop our arms. Although they could be lying, right? They could be full of shit. But we will never find out because the ceasefire was broke before that, right? I assume this guy would say, well, Hamas broke that ceasefire. Fair enough. Okay.
Hamas no longer has a military.
It's a lie, but okay.
On October 8th, it had a vast military of over 5 brigades, 24 battalions, 40,000 fighters, 20,000 rockets, the ability
40,000 fighters and 20,000 rockets. But you're telling me that every house has, like, according to Netanyahu, every house has fucking booby traps in it? With 40,000 people compared to the rest of the population? Also, if someone on this fucking show would ask him, like, how many civilians are there? How many civilians are in all of Gaza? How many Hamas people have died? How many civilians have died? So thus, 40,000 troops is not a big enough number to represent the ratio of civilian to combatant deaths. Doesn't make sense. Are you saying they're down to like 10 people or something like that? Is that what you're saying? There's like 10 Hamas people left. Is that what you're saying? How? Okay. One more question. How is Dumbfuck Jordan on YouTube asking better questions than the sealed from Rogan podcast idiots doing these interviews? And obviously more than this guy even knows, because he's not even bringing them up in the first place. How's that happen? I'm just saying, but he looks like a pussy. To be honest with you, it's like a little bitch. To be honest with you, he looks like you put lip gloss on, little slap your face around, little pussy, bro. That's what you look like to me. But then again, that's just me. As some guy, some guy that would dominate this little bitch. That's all. Sorry. Ad hominem. Forgive me. Here we go.
To defend ground that was a raid across the Gaza Strip.
Point three.
It
It's
no
already
longer
wrecked.
has a
Point three.
military. Does it have a guerrilla force? Yes. Does it have a lot of radicalized people who are willing to continue to fight?
How many?
Absolutely. That's not the.
How many? How many? You're saying there are radicalized people there, which means there are radicalized people there, which means you could maybe make an estimate of how many, right? As a military expert. So then tell us then. You bring up nothing to argue against when you say, like, well, they could be bad over there. What's over there? What do you mean by like in that city, territory, the entire fucking place? Bad? What do you mean by like what does bad mean? Is it they were a part of October 7th? Do you mean like they got fucked up and they got pissed off and they joined the quote unquote bad guys? Like what do you mean by any of that, right? An intellectual would ask those questions, right? Someone who's smart, who's from academic world, would ask those questions, wouldn't they? Yeah, I know. I know what you're thinking. These guys aren't actually smart, are they? They're actually dumb fucks, aren't they? They're actually stupid fucking people, claiming to be smart. In fact, they advertise it and say like, "Yo, come on, guys, we're the smart ones. Come join us over here." That seems to be what they do, right? I don't know. Let's keep playing. I'm waiting for goal number 3.
Measure of effectiveness, though. Is Israel been successful at destroying Hamas's military? That's a fact. They absolutely have.
So they're destroying them?
And they're continuing that.
Wait. So they're destroying them. They're destroying Hamas, but also they have to kill a shit ton of civilians. And if we bring up civilians, he'll say like, "Well, that's just war. That's normal. That's war. That's very normal." Here we go.
Operation. The fact that the average age of a new Hamas recruit is 16 seems to escape people. Yes, there are new Hamas recruits. The other one is to remove.
They keep respawning. Got it. They have infinite spawns. They keep respawning and renewing themselves. Got it. Okay. Let's hear about the another one, as he calls it. Here we go.
Operation. The fact that the average age of a new Hamas recruit is 16 seems to escape people. Yes, there are new Hamas recruits. The other one is to remove Hamas from power, right? Hamas was the political apparatus that invaded and ordered its military, its terror army, to invade southern Gaza. Israel has attrited Hamas's governing capabilities. You have clans rising up. They're writing op-eds in the Wall Street Journal about, I am not Hamas. I am controlling southern parts of Gaza. Israel has been successful at taking the power from Gaza. Yes, it made missteps in the trying to wrest that main source of power. And there's new statistics out just yesterday about how much money Hamas has made since October 7th to pay its fighters by taking the aid. And then lastly, so 3 goals.
Wait. That was number 3. The fuck? There's another one? Okay. Maybe I got confused by what he was saying. Okay, so take Hamas out of power And you do that by killing the civilian population, which adds to the, according to him, 16-year-olds that join Hamas, and then I guess re-recruit for them. As in, like, if they gave them, like, if they said, yo, citizens, we're gonna give you like food and water, make sure you're taken care of, and there's been a system in place by the UN to make sure that Hamas doesn't get this stuff, right? Apparently that is, well, the UN is, maybe they're Hamas too. I don't know. They might be Hamas too. And with that, now I'm lost. Fuck. Fuck, I'm lost. They're helping. Fuck. If we didn't just kill every citizen that we could find, and we give 5-minute warnings of bombings of hospitals, maybe Hamas would have a lower recruitment rate. Not even saying that's the case. In fact, if I had to guess, for Gazans, actual civilians there, they're probably like, yo, it's useless to join Hamas because they're killing all of us willy-nilly anyways. There is no backlash for it. There is no call-outs for it. In fact, there's videos like this on the fucking internet. Not saying they saw this, but I'm just saying, like, I can see this shit. And it's like, there's a justification for what they're doing. And Dilbert and Fuckface pretend to ask tough questions, but actually, they actually don't. They are pretending to make them look, I guess, smart or something. Like, that's what their end goal is, I guess. As they fold their fucking hands. Why show their faces? Honestly. Weird. But, alright, here we go. There's more of, sorry, ad hominem. My bad. Here we go.
If I'm not being clear, return the hostages, dismantle Hamas's military, remove them from power, and ensure that Gaza never threatens Israel again. And Israel has continued to establish a border area and expand that.
Can Israel threaten Palestine or Gaza in any way? Make sure of that. Can't say that. And their show will allow this, by the way. Here we go.
To remove them from power and ensure that Gaza never threatens Israel again. And Israel has continued to establish a border area and expand that very difficult situation that was the border between Gaza and Israel since October 7th. So if somebody says there's nothing being achieved here, or there's nothing that has been achieved, they're just not right. That the idea that you should have stopped the war, right? So, I heard somebody say, after the death of Yahya Sinwar, you should have just ended it. There was no successes being made, and you were hurting Israel's reputation on the international stage. And you could talk about this ridiculous stuff about a two-state solution and threatening Israel to stop the war. Again, take out the word Israel and take out the word Palestine, and just, if we were just to do this on paper, this is what happened on a country is invaded by a terror force. All these things happen. The other country waged war with these goals.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be having this question of they're not achieving anything in this war. And the idea that you could do this in 21 months, again, that you could do this quickly under the constraints, right? Again, United States and no other nation would have done it this way because they wouldn't have been forced to, right? The 6 months of don't go into Rafah. You gave the enemy a safe haven. Now the enemy still has safe havens in Gaza City, where they have never evacuated. They have in Deir Blah and in the humanitarian zone that was forced to be made. Absolutely, Israel has the right to continue the operation, and all these double standards that it's being held to, it's still fulfilling, even though they're not right. So where does this go? Israel has to remove Hamas from power, not just for the safety of Israel, but for the safety of the Gazan people to not.
Okay. Within this interview, made a gray line between what is civilian versus what is Hamas in the first place. Thus, as maybe a State Department would do, right? The Israel State Department, their version of it or whatever. Yeah, you can make blurry lines between what is Hamas and what isn't. Thus, by that reasoning, you can actually like excuse yourself from causing mass civilian casualty and say it's like, well, most of it was Hamas. A Hamas fighter was in this building, so we had to blow up the entire building. Hamas was in that water bottle that little girl was carrying, so thus we had to blow it up. You know what I'm saying? Actually, for dumb fucks, let me look this up. Actually, forgive me. It's a little delay. It's a little detour in the middle of this video. Let me find the... Sorry, YouTube. You're going to probably kick me off the fucking air for this. Yeah, forgive me for this. Sorry, YouTube. I know it's ugly looking, but sorry. I work in real time. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. And just close this out real fast. Yeah. Again, YouTube, yeah, kick me off the air. It is what it is. Oh, man, that fucking stupid girl was carrying water? What's wrong with her? Carrying water out in the open? How the fuck would you do that? How fucking dare you bring water out in the open? How fucking dare you? Have fuckface have an answer for that. Make that make sense, dumb fuck. He can't. These people are somehow have fucking status where we're at, bro. Somehow. How the fuck does that happen? Get the fuck out of here, man. Look at these fucking losers. Losers, actually. Yes, ad hominem if you want. It is what it is. No fucking clue what's going on anywhere. Intellectuals, get the fuck out of here, bro. I'm surprised these fools can tie their fucking shoes during the day, bro. Seriously. Triggernometry, get the fuck out of here. Playing off of fucking, like, real, like, no offense, real dudes, real women. You're nowhere near those fucking people, are you? Nowhere near them. Guys with grains of sand in their fucking, like, canvas in their fucking hands. Nowhere near them, are you? Don't know what the fuck that is, do you? Fuck out of here. Soldiers, get the fuck out of here. This guy's a fucking soldier? I don't fucking believe it. I don't believe it. Fucking clean ass teeth. Get the fuck out of here, bro. I don't fucking believe you, dude. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. And these two, get the fuck out of here. These dudes are not smart. I'm sorry. They're pseudo intellectuals. Pseudo. Capital P, pseudo. Here we go. Let's keep playing this. Yeah. No clue. And that's one of a billion fucking clips you can find. You're telling me the dumb fucks of the internet couldn't find these things? Not my clip I played, but like any clip. You can find anything like, hey man, what about this? Yo, John, what about this? Nothing? Nothing. They fold their hands and pretend they're fucking smart. They're not smart, guys. Sorry. Breaking news. These guys are not fucking smart. Dumb fuck 1, dumb fuck 2. They're not smart. I'm sorry. Someone should let them, like, actually know that, by the way. Fuck. Triggernometry. Embarrassing. Embarrassing fucking idiots. Fuck out of here, bro.
Not be used as human sacrifices in the overall goal of Hamas, which has never changed, which is the destruction of Israel, I don't know if you saw recently how
The
it
destruction of
Keir
Israel.
Starmer.
Yo, they're stopping that with this? Yo, dumb fuck. Yo, devil worshiper. Wait a minute. So their actions are to stop the destruction of Israel? Isn't that a tiny bit overkill? Or nothing? Or no? Is it fine? Is it normal? No, bro. They try extra hard to look after civilians. They do. It's just like civilians keep running in front of bombs. They keep running in front of them. Like that little girl did, bro. That little girl was like, "Where's the bomb at? It's over there. Let me run at it." We sprint at the fucking bomb and kill myself. You see what? When I say devil worshiper, it's not taken lightly when I say that. It's real. It's really real. Like, actually real. Some little kid fucking jugging waters along. Give me a context where that works, where that makes sense in any reality. All you have is devil worshippers saying, "Oh no, it's okay," and you have dumb fuck 1 and dumb fuck 2 saying, "You're an expert, okay." Pseudo intellectuals with devil worshiper equals you get nothing out of the conversation. Actually, nothing out of this. Fuck. How the fuck do you have families? Actually, how the fuck do you have wives or kids or anything like that, bro? These fucking weirdos. How the fuck does that happen? If they knew. Only if they fucking knew. Here we go.
Israel, but for the safety of the Gazan people to not be used as human sacrifices in the overall goal of Hamas, which has never changed, which is the destruction of Israel. I don't know if you saw recently how it thanked
right? Now it's different, huh?
Starmer about his threat to Israel and said, look, Britain, thank you for threatening Israel to recognize Palestine as a state in September, but make sure we're clear. We want Jerusalem to be the capital of that Palestinian state, and we don't want Israel to exist in it.
John, there are people who are going to say, look, by continuing this war, you're effectively playing into Hamas's hands. What Hamas wants is to delegitimize Israel.
I'm done, guys. I'm going to be triggered. I am triggered, but what you're saying, John, what you're saying might play into Hamas's hand. That's your fucking question? I'm done with this video. Thank you for whoever recommended this. I'm not mad at you at all, by the way. You're cool. You're fine. It's just these guys. Oh my god. In real life, it's hard not to slap these idiots. It's hard not to. I'm a very anti-violent person. I really am. I don't kill fucking insects. I don't. It sounds weird, but it is what it is. I don't do that. On purpose. Right, I might step on an ant on the sidewalk or something. But I'm not purposely doing that. I'm like, oh my god, get raid. I don't do that. I really don't. Instead, I put them on a napkin and guide them outside. I actually do that. But it would be hard for me to hold back from slapping this fucking idiot. Seriously. I look at his face, I'm like, I want to fucking punch you, bro. Here's pain. I want you to feel pain so you can empathize with people over there. It is what it is. Do not follow that at all. That's for me. That's not for you. That's for Jordan. It's like that pain and that trying to hold back from beating the fuck out of little dweeb little motherfuckers like this. That's me and my feelings. It's not an advice at all. It's not crazy marketing at all. It's straight up I'm saying that's not a good idea. Not good. Don't do that, please. I beg you not to. It's just being honest about what I feel when I hear these guys, these little fucking idiots talk. But please don't do that. Anyways, there's your video. Embarrassing. Here's your video. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment, agree, disagree, whatever you want to say, please say it. I deserve the shit I'm about to eat for this video. Please do it. Say whatever your thoughts or anything like that. Please go ahead. Don't forget to check out the links in the description box for Discord or donations for charities. If you want to do that, please go ahead and do that. And with all that said, please give this video a thumbs down.